안녕하세요.
It happened overnight. A leaked photo, blurry, but unmistakable. Ji-won and Jun-ho in the executive lounge, seated close together, a candle flickering between them. Her face was partially turned, but his sharp profile was crystal clear. The image exploded across social media and online tabloids by sunrise. By the time employees flooded into Hancorp's glass tower that morning, the atmosphere was toxic with speculation. Rumors no longer whispered, they echoed. Slack channels lit up with private threads. Secretaries refreshed gossip blogs. Department heads received calls from press contacts fishing for statements. Even shareholders began to ask questions about CEO Han's personal conduct in forums and investment chats. Ji-won stepped into the building as if walking into a storm. Her transfer to the distribution wing had barely cooled the rumors, but this was gasoline. Every step she took echoed with judgment. She passed two interns whispering into a phone. "Yes, she's here. Just walked in. She looks pale." On the 36th floor, Jun-ho's office was tense. He slammed a folded newspaper onto the glass table, the front page emblazoned with the photo. This was an internal breach. "I want the IT and security departments working together. Whoever accessed the lounge camera feed is finished." His assistant fidgeted. "Yes, sir. But the board is requesting an emergency meeting. The chairman is furious. And, your mother is here." He closed his eyes briefly. Of course she is. In the chairman's private boardroom, the older executives sat like vultures. The chairman, a man with a voice like gravel and eyes like steel, stared Jun-ho down. "What exactly are we looking at here, son? A violation of privacy?" "No, what we're looking at is a billion-dollar merger endangered because you couldn't keep your emotions in check. With all due respect, my personal life is no longer personal. Not when you're the face of Hancorp. Either fix this, or step aside." Meanwhile, Ji-won tried to find normalcy. Her new desk was in the furthest corner of the distribution wing. Surrounded by crates and manifests, she felt like a ghost. Still, she worked. Until HR called. "Miss CEO, we've been advised to place you on temporary leave, with pay, of course. Just until things calm down." "Is this, from Mr. Han?" "No. It came from above." Ji-won left the building through the underground parking garage. She couldn't face the lobby, the whispers, the stares. Outside, she walked in silence, turning off her phone. Every vibration felt like a dagger. That night, her apartment door knocked once. Then again. She opened it slowly. There he was. Jun-ho. Drenched from the rain, his black coat dripping, holding an umbrella in one hand and a wrapped envelope in the other. "I'm sorry," he said. Her voice trembled. "For what?" "For not protecting you better." He stepped in. They sat on her worn-out couch in silence for a moment. "I told you this would happen," Ji-won whispered. "You're the CEO. You're not allowed to love someone like me." "But I already do." He handed her the envelope. Inside was a contract, not for employment, but for a full-ride university scholarship. Her name printed clearly at the top. A personal recommendation from Han Jun-ho attached to the back. "I want you to decide what you want," he said. "I'll support you, whether it's here, or at school, or halfway around the world. I just want you to have choices." Ji-won felt tears rising. "But the company, your family, let them try to stop me." In another corner of Seoul, Jun-ho's mother sat in her penthouse, clutching a photo of Ji-won. On the phone, she spoke crisply to an unknown contact. "I don't care how. End this. Discredit her. Make her disappear from this company and my son's life. Do you understand me? And with that, the true storm began to gather. The boardroom of Hancorp was a battlefield disguised in elegance. Polished mahogany, a panoramic skyline, and a dozen men and women in tailored suits breathing contempt. Junho stood at the head, hands braced on the table, eyes scanning the faces that once revered him. "We're not here to adjudicate my personal life," he began, tone even, though his chest burned with anger. "Our quarterly projections are up. The merger with Celian Tech is moving forward. And every target we set last fiscal year has been exceeded." An executive with a streak of gray in his hair slammed a folder down. "And yet our brand value has plummeted 20% since the photograph leaked. News outlets are calling us Korea's real-life chaebol soap opera. You're compromising Hancorp's credibility for a secretary. She is not a scandal. She's a human being. One whose integrity I will defend until my last breath." Chairman Han finally spoke, his voice grave. "Then consider this your last chance, Junho. If you truly intend to marry this girl, you will do so without Hancorp. The board will vote to remove you. Choose, your title or your heart." Ji-won, unaware of the exact ultimatum, sat in her apartment surrounded by chaos. News vans parked across the street. Her social media was flooded with vitriol and half-hearted support. She hadn't stepped outside in days. The scholarship contract lay open on her desk, unsigned. She couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the disappointment in Junho's face if she left. And yet, if she stayed, would his world be torn apart even further? A knock. She froze. Not reporters, it was her older brother, Ji-suk. He looked weathered, protective. He handed her a tablet. "You need to see this," he muttered. It was an anonymous exposé, posted on a high-traffic gossip site. "The Secret Mistress of Hancorp," screamed the headline. It featured heavily edited photos of Ji-won in various settings, spliced with scenes implying luxury and seduction. She scrolled with trembling fingers. "They're portraying me as some gold-digging temptress," she whispered. Ji-suk sat beside her. "It's more than that. These files. They had to come from internal servers. Emails. Employee IDs. This was deliberate and expensive." Ji-won felt like the walls were closing in. Her chest tightened. She clutched the scholarship papers like a life raft. That night, she asked Junho to meet her at the rooftop, the same place he'd taken her during their first unofficial date. The sky was ink black, the wind fierce. He arrived breathless, jacket flapping in the wind. "You're safe?" he asked first. She nodded. "For now." He took her hand, warm despite the cold. "Say the word and I'll shut it all down. We'll disappear. Paris. Jeju Island. I'll buy a cottage and," she laughed softly, cutting him off. "You'd hate retirement. I'd love you." Her eyes filled with tears. "They're tearing us apart, Junho." "Then let them try." She placed the signed scholarship contract in his hand. "I'm not leaving you. But I want this. For me. If they're going to paint me as some greedy fool, I'll prove them wrong. I'll build something of my own." The next morning, Seoul stood still. Hancorp announced an emergency press conference. Reporters gathered like vultures, whispering rumors about resignations and arrests. Junho stepped onto the stage. Cameras flashed. His mother watched from home, wine glass trembling. "Yes," he said boldly, "I am in love with Co Ji-won. She is not my mistake. She is my future." Reporters shouted questions. "Are you resigning? Will the merger continue? Is this an admission? He raised a hand. I will continue as CEO. And any investor or partner who believes love is a liability is free to walk away. Hancorp is built on integrity, and that begins at the top. The room erupted. In the chaos, he stepped away from the podium and walked off stage. Back at home, Ji-won turned off the TV, hand pressed over her heart. In his war for her, Junho had chosen love, and the battle had only just begun. Spring returned to Seoul with delicate cherry blossoms in bloom, as if the city itself was offering Ji-won and Junho a fresh start. The scandal had not vanished entirely, but its noise had dulled. Hancorp stocks rebounded. The merger held steady. And most importantly, Junho's public confession became a turning point, not just for the company, but for hearts watching across the nation. Ji-won, now enrolled in a business program, split her days between lectures and working part-time in a small design firm. She wanted to build her path, not as the CEO's wife, but as a woman who had weathered a storm and chosen to rise. And Junho respected every inch of that journey. They saw each other often, in quiet cafes, weekend strolls through hidden gardens, and stolen moments on the Hancorp rooftop. Each meeting stitched them closer, rebuilding what had been nearly torn apart. The world still stared, but they no longer flinched. One evening, Junho invited her to the very restaurant where they had once shared their first unofficial meal, this time, no disguises, no private rooms. Just two people in love. He held her hand across the table. You taught me more about strength than any boardroom ever could. I love you, Ji-won. And I want to make you a promise that no board vote, no headline, no family member can undo. He stood, drawing a soft gasp from the diners around them, and knelt. From his pocket, he drew a velvet box, revealing a ring that shimmered with simplicity, no grand gems, just a modest diamond surrounded by two tiny sakura blossoms in gold. CO Ji-won, will you marry me? Her tears fell before the words came. Yes. 1,000 times, yes. Their wedding was private, a rooftop garden lit by lanterns, with close friends, loyal colleagues, and Ji-suk walking his sister down the aisle. Junho's mother did not attend, but she sent a single white lily and a note. When love survives a storm, sometimes even mothers must surrender. Years later, Hancorp flourished under new leadership ideals. Ji-won ran her own design firm, creating minimalist architecture across Asia. And on weekends, their twin daughters ran barefoot through the cherry blossoms, while Junho chased them with a camera, laughter echoing down the path. They had defied the odds, rewritten tradition, and turned scandal into legend. Their love story was no longer whispered, it was celebrated. And in the heart of Seoul, their forever had finally begun.
Seasons come and go, oh, our love will always grow. Through the storms and gentle rain, we'll bloom and start again. You're my eternal